Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sun Up on 7. Thank you so much for starting your day and your week with us. We highly value you being tuned in. Before we start our conversation, let me remind you can follow us on our various social media platforms, which include Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And if you happen to miss any of our conversations, you can go on our YouTube channel and enjoy the discussions. And of course, share all our social media platforms with your network. Let's get this community of Sun Up on 7 growing. So it's time for our first conversation, Ren. Are you excited?
I'm super
We're going to be
excited.
talking about Frontline Warriors, our nurses. It's Nurses Week, and let's hear all about what is the definition, what is the meaning behind the theme, what is happening in Belize when it comes to Nurses Week, and of course, let's talk about all the good work that the nurses are putting there. So let me introduce who our guest this morning. We have Sister Isaac, the head of the Maternity Unit at KHMH. Sister Isaac, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. It's our week,
It's your week.
and I'm feeling so great.
Hope
Yeah,
you're feeling to
even-
dance too as well.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. That's the proper way to start the morning. We absolutely love that energy. We have Sister Nurse Ashley Charlesworth. How are you, Ashley?
I'm well.
You're good? Awesome. And we also have Nurse Sandra Burgess joining us as well. How are you, Nurse?
I'm feeling fine.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's get started with this conversation.
Yes, definitely. So Nurses Week, as we know, it's this week right here. And it's under the theme of, Frontline Warriors. Now, a lot of people know that nurses specifically too, not only doctors, but nurses that, all of the hands-on work nurses really do. I always say the nurses do the heavy lifting as compared to the doctors. And so there's much more respect to me. I feel like I just like the admiration because I know you guys have to put a lot in. So can we talk a little bit about, for viewers' sake, what really is the role of a nurse? Because maybe we have a lot of young viewers, ages 5 and so forth. So we want to have them to understand a little bit what is the role of a nurse. I know there's different nurses. We have, we have the midwife nurses, and then we also have the RNs and so forth. But can you talk a little bit about just the general basis of what nurses do on a day-to-day basis?
Star Burgess.
You just took your exams. Oh, well, you took the one in March, so you're supposed to have a general idea to tell us right now. But
Yes. Come on, Nurse Ashley. You can do this.
Okay, when it comes to nurses, I think people have this misconception, and a lot of people do have a misconception that we don't do as much as doctors, which is a lie. And I thank you for your view of nursing because throughout my career as a nurse, a lot of people have said, I want to be a nurse because all you guys do is sit down. No, you see us when we sit to chart because being a nurse is much more than that. We have to be an educator to our patients. We have to know how to communicate with not only our patients, but other staff, healthcare workers, and family members. We have to provide that psychological care, that emotional support to our patients because sometimes they're alone. So who else is there to lend a shoulder to lean on when you're by yourself and going through a difficult time? Nurses are the ones who are there 24/7. We're the ones that carry out the doctor's orders. Anything starts happening to you, we're the first ones to see it. Okay, like if they give an order and all the while you're doing great and then something changes in your vital signs, we're the ones who are supposed to be there to pick that up. If you get a medication and you have an allergic reaction, we're the ones who pick that up. So throughout the day, all the care, everything, yes, the doctors order, they give their orders, but we're the ones who are there 24/7.
the heavy lifting, all of that.
Everything.
Wow.
And think about it. If you start with a cardiac arrest, who's there by your side? The nurse.
That is so true.
Until the
There it
doctor.
goes.
The whole monitoring process for people are wondering, like you see, nurses are the one that are rushing in to make sure everything is happening. So again, thank you so much for that. Again, all the young people out there, we want them to be able to understand. So again, the theme is now Frontline Warriors.
Yeah.
Can we highlight, why this team specifically? I guess it links to COVID, or
Yeah.
are we just talking in general? Could you just highlight that for us?
Yeah. Maybe Sister Isaac can help us there. While you're thinking about that, I wanna like be curious. So COVID, we know how overwhelming it was for the health system, for nurses. Has there been any changes since restrictions have been moved? Number of COVID cases have decreased. What has been the overall feel like within the health system?
Well, it is with COVID, the statistics is very low. In hospital, we're getting a low intake of patients who's actually hospitalized.
Okay.
When it comes to maternity mothers, the cases already also dropped to a very
Alright.
low space. The staff, presently for my unit, we doesn't have any staff that is out, that is positive and out.
Wow,
But
that's good.
in the hospital, you have like, let us say, like 5 or a little less nurses who are positive, and it's out. But during COVID,
That's really good news.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Positive information.
yeah,
Right.
and during COVID, it was very trying times for us. Yes, we were fearful, but it brings us together in a way that I never see before. We had that love, we had that unity. It was more like a family come together to fight COVID.
Wow.
I could imagine how difficult your jobs were too as well, because I know you had the maternity
Yeah.
unit. So thinking about mothers, the scare that they're having with their children, there was like not a vaccine as yet officially for the mothers at one point. So they were wondering if the mothers can take it. So I can imagine all of that. And then again, still having to deliver all these babies safely. Like, I see your face like we don't know that struggle that's happening. Like we hear things, like we know that you're working hard, but I don't think people truly understand the situation at hand. Could you tell us a little bit about the maternity unit? Like what takes place, what's been happening, especially now with COVID, easing up, but like what was it like to as well during that pandemic?
Well, during the pandemic, for me as an individual, because I read a lot. I have a large team that myself had to be educated enough to know what is this COVID with all these informations that you had on the net, what you hear from people, you had to sort out which way to go. And I was so fearful, but I had to have the strength to carry for the rest of my staff. And the thing with me, I always be truthful with my staff. If I don't know, I don't know. How can we pull this together? When the COVID unit started, I went in with 1 or 2 midwives, not knowing what to do. And we call on God more, help us, because we have our families.
Yes.
And there was a great fear, but in all, we had our midwife here, Nurse Burgess, that herself and the other midwives were in most of the time with the patients. So she will able to elaborate exactly what was her feelings during that period of time.
By all means, Nurse Burgess, can give us that insight.
Okay, and when it comes to the actual working part of doing the job itself, it was very frustrating during the COVID time because our unit had to be split because we cannot have a COVID positive mother with the mothers that are non-positive. Therefore, we had to split the unit, which made it frustrating because there's only a handful of midwives.
Yeah.
So when I leave my area, I leave my other nurse alone, and I go to the other area to do my delivery, and in the COVID area, and I would have an assistance from maybe a medical officer, a doctor. But the area is not conducive to doing deliveries, so we have to make a lot of adjustments, and then you come back, and then you have to bathe, shift off, and dress in your fresh clothes, and go back in and start to work again on the regular unit when you're done delivering the COVID baby or the COVID patient. So it was a lot of frustration there, but we hung in there, and we made it possible, and it worked. With the help of God, it worked, and our colleagues, we just, with our car, one thing people don't understand with us, we make everything work. Sometimes we have this much to use, but it works. At the end of the day, it works, everybody's well, mommy, baby, happy, we're good.
And some fun facts for people. I think it's 2,500 babies on average for a year that you guys deliver. And then as well, there's 180 nurses at KHMH too as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm getting these facts wrong. Right? So people can definitely know there's a lot of manpower, but there's also that you still have to be spread thin. And so on again, the activities. What are we celebrating? Because we're celebrating you, but how are we celebrating you? I hope I'm gonna get big party and shake dings and food and all kind of
Yeah,
stuff and
some
maybe one day
retreats.
off or 2 day off. Because my friends like tell you about the double shift. Like there's sometimes I'm just talking, he's like, oh, I have to go into our next shift. And I don't think people understand that.
Because to you guys or to the public, 180 nurses might seem a lot, but that's a handful. In our reality, it's a handful. So like you say, to fill another shift, sometimes we have to work 2 shifts.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's how it goes. Sometimes for the week, maybe one nurse might be doing 3 double shifts for that week, not because that nurse really wants to do that shift, but who else is? And I can't get a nurse from another ward to come and do my work because not everybody is a midwife. Not any nurse can do delivery. We are specialized nurses. When we're midwives, we're specialized. So I can't just bring you from medical ward and say, oh, work here and do this delivery. No.
Yeah,
so we have to, exactly, because you don't know my role. So we have to meet among ourselves and we have to help out our colleagues and we do it on our own.
Get you.
It's a lot.
Makes total sense. Yeah. So tell us about how are we celebrating nurses this week?
Well, Nursing Week started since the 6th, which
Okay.
was Friday. And different part of the country is doing different activities. But we are at Carlushna. We'll be doing from this afternoon, I think at 4:30. We usually will have the a church service because we need to give God praise and thanks
Yes.
Okay.
for bringing us through everything. Because on a daily basis, we prayed, and us at Maternity Unit, we prayed every morning as a unit to bring us through. And so you have that in the garden, and then we have the first time we have a ceremony of epaulets. I'm the unit manager with red and white. And then I have the assistant, and they will be I'll be pinning the epaulets. They will be blue and white.
Okay.
Yeah, blue and white.
Okay.
And Tuesday, we'll have other activities. I know that Thursday is sports.
What?
Yes.
Oh, trying to get active?
Hello, we always active.
No, this is a really bad idea, right? But Sister Isaac, so in my mind, because I know the maternity, right?
Yeah, I'm
Don't
I'm
judge
trying
me.
to picture it.
Don't judge me right now, okay? So I'm asking, like, activity for sports. I don't see Sister Burgess know where to go with this, right? So have the baby, like toss the baby. I was like, yeah, one of the player babies, and like, you know that one
Like an
end, and
American
I
football?
yes, like no, I'm just dashing that
We
out.
can toss the baby, but it got to be a doll.
Of course, because I sure nobody and a newborn fresh baby would just pop out while we're that. But like, that's a good idea. I think that's very maternity.
Somebody you don't want to have in your ward. But yes.
But what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, Nurse Ashley. Any more activities happening during the week that you want to highlight?
Naming of the
The
park.
cookout. Remember, every year
Yeah.
we usually do a cookout for Nurses Week, but this year they're going to do it flameless. Usually we would have our stove and we literally cook 3 courses.
Yes.
we do.
But
We
how
do
do
it.
they cook?
We
They cook
set it
yeah,
up.
no.
We
Our
set it up
ward
in our
had
parking
one,
lot.
second, and third.
Yes.
In the past.
Oh,
years.
the win prizes.
Yes,
for that?
yes.
Okay, I like the
Because we have we have
One thing.
testers that taste our food.
That's our food, and it's high quality.
Why not about ask me for contest?
Ah.
I just want to whine about.
Well, you have Mr. Tillett.
Okay.
He can ask you to come and
Mr.
test.
Slade, I am always available to test food, and if the nurses to prepare it with love, I am all for it. So we're having flameless.
Flameless,
Yes, this
meaning no
year.
stove this year with fire. So you have to cook your food maybe using a microwave or a crock pot or
I
something,
feel like sandwich again, mate.
but nothing with fire.
Fernandez is not
Yes,
fire.
they have an appetizer, main dish, and dessert.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
we have families, and we have to cook for our families. Although we cook, for me, I cook occasionally because the thing is, you have to have a support person, which is my husband. And he does all the cooking and everything. And my time is
Christoph, your
weekend.
husband. Right.
Yeah. And so to be a nurse, you really have to have a supportive, that support. Or else without that support, there's actually no you.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Nurses, we're coming to the end of this segment, so we're wrapping up. I want to say thank you so much for being here, highlighting the good work that you're doing. I mean, it's really an understatement saying thanks, but thank you so much for everything that you do. I'm going to invite Nurse Ashley to just give some last words to our viewers as we wrap up this segment.
And the song is ready too, by the way.
too.
So you could get your back ready.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
There you go. Nurse Ashley, please.
Okay, so on behalf of all nurses, I'd like to thank all you guys for a wonderful job well done throughout the pandemic, before the pandemic, after the pandemic. Thank you guys so much for all the love, all the support and everything. Keep working as a family. And I'd like to tell all young people, come be a nurse. We welcome you.
There you
When you
go.
have
Because-
180, we need more.
But we need a lot
Yeah.
more, like a really lot more, because what people fail to realize, we have 180 nurses, yes, but they're split up throughout the wards. And sometimes we have a full ward with only 2 nurses. And if you have 20 patients, 2 nurses,
It's
it's very
overwhelming.
hard. So there's where, like Miss Burgess said, the overtime nurses come in. Sometimes nurses, they don't even do it for the overtime. They do it just for the love of the patient. And, because my colleague is working, I'm going to work with her. I'm going to help her. Like I can say for myself, the other night we were very full when I was on night shift. And my colleague, Nurse White, she volunteered, came over to help us out. So nursing is a job of love. You have to have the passion for it. And I can safely say, of all the nurses I know, we love our job.
All right. Thank
And
you for
we
that.
love you guys for doing
Yes.
all the things that you do. Again, Happy Nurses
Happy
Week.
Nurses
You guys are
Thank
more than
you.
just, I feel like Warriors that were understatement for all the things that you guys do. Like, again, the hands-on work, the dedication, the double, triple shifts that I've heard about, the hours upon hours that you guys are working, like going home to get like 3 hours of sleep or whatever.
Yep.
People really don't understand. So if you want to see one nurse, guys, just try buy our lunch or try like tell her, no, seriously, like under the one
Take
that
some
nurses week,
fruits.
under the one I want to do, like treat them to something, like commend them, remind them why you are so thankful for the job that they do, because honestly, you many people can't do what they do. Many
Nurse,
people.
are you hearing that?
So under the
Nurse?
hear that, leave
Yeah,
me.
but that is what we danced last year, true?
Yeah, that was for last.
Yes,
Oh, that was the song.
last
This is the video.
year.
I recall that.
Video.
See, that's the one when they bring it back to see if you remember on the moves, if you got better moves now, kind of how to hold you up to get it together.
We already got it together.
Oh, I got it together. Okay, see, I'm right. Sister Isaac, they put your hand up, we got to carry no, get
She
real,
was the
guys.
choreographer, right?
Okay,
She was the
okay.
choreographer.
So guys, with that, we'll go to our next commercial break, but we'll be right back and instead just like dance off with the nurses, man. Remember, buy their lunch, buy their food or whatever it is.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you too.